Need to be.
I
So I'll handle hosting until we turn the room over, the screen over to Chachi and everything. And
yeah, I can, but I'll go ahead and just try to stay on top of it. I mean, other than that, I can forward you the slideshow and maybe that'll work.
um, well, I
I'll
mean,
put it in the chat.
it's either me doing it or you doing it. One or the other until I get it set up so that I can have a co-host in here. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
think
not.
I'll be all right.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay with it. I don't think we're gonna have a big surge of people that we gonna that's gonna throw us off. We might have a few more people come in, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick pause, and then I'm gonna start the meeting. Um, Let me see. A little more light. All right, I'm gonna say welcome everybody to the Nguzo Saba 365 study group, a project of the Inland Area Kwanzaa Group. And we are here tonight going into the third session, actually, of this new initiative that we started here with this Black History Month. And our objective is to engage conversations throughout the year, conversations and activities on the 7 principles so that we don't wait until the end of the year around Kwanzaa time to start talking about that. So we set that off here with Black History Month, and this is going to be our 3rd session. And tonight we have Brother Chache Wright, who is an accomplished brother in the community, doing a lot of good work. And he volunteered tonight to lead us in a discussion about Ujamaa, cooperative economics. And the title of our presentation tonight is Black Economics in the 21st Century, Ujamaa Strategies to Increase Wealth and Opportunity in the Black Community. And for those who might need a quick reminder, Ujamaa is the 4th principle, and it means cooperative economics. And the definition is to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together, right? And we should understand, well, all of us are adults here. We've been adulting for decades now, right? And we understand that in order to do anything collectively, we got to bring things to the table individually, right? We have to do that. We should take that knowledge that we develop individually and apply it collectively so that others can benefit. That's what Ujamaa is all about, right? But we understand that it has to begin with our personal situations, and we have to be good stewards of our own personal finances. We have to examine ways to increase our earnings, increase our revenue, resources, while staying consistent with the principles. We certainly don't want to go all wild like the dominant society does, and its relentless pursuit of wealth by any means necessary, disregarding the environment, disregarding other people, and everything, in a self-destructive track, advancing capitalism. So we don't advocate for that. We speak in terms of Ujamaa, cooperative economics. And we have this brother here tonight who's going to lead us in this discussion. And we're going to have about a 30-minute conversation or so, and then some opportunity to do some Q&A and have some discussion amongst ourselves. So it is my pleasure, again, to introduce Brother Chache Wright, who's a new member of the Inland Area Kwanzaa Group, and he's going to be presenting tonight on the Black Economics in the 21st Century, Ujamaa Strategies to Increase Wealth in the Black Community. Brother Chache, it's good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brother Suju. Thank you. Very honored to be here and to have this opportunity. I definitely want to first and foremost say when I started this, I said, "Oh, what did I get myself into?" But at the same time, I also, as I had expressed at the time, I felt like this was a sort of a introductory level in terms of what we're trying to do or what's important about Ujamaa. So I wanted to share with you just a few things that I came across and some information that I became aware of, in my journey to try to be more financially sound and just trying to, figure out my my particular approach to practicing Ujima and the strategies and increasing my wealth and such. So let me see here. So I realized, okay, I didn't have time to practice this part of it.
Oh, you're among family, brother. Take your time, man.
There it goes. All right, so uh, as we know, the Black community has faced systemic economic oppression for centuries, from slavery to Jim Crow, laws of discrimination, discriminatory practices. And despite all of those challenges, we've persevered and we've achieved great things facing adversity. However, racial wealth gaps persist, and Black households, holding just 10 cents in a dollar compared to white households. And imperative that we address this wealth gap and work towards economic justice for the Black community. Uh, One strategy that has been proposed, or that we are attempting to propose this evening, sorry, trying to get my bearings right, is Ujima, based on the idea that the collective approach to economic activity can benefit the entire community. And working together, pooling resources, um, African Americans can, be more equitable in economic systems and benefit all members of the community. So what are some strategies that can be employed to increase the opportunity in the Black community? Well, of course, the first one is obvious. It's supporting Black-owned businesses. One of the most direct ways to support Black businesses by shopping at Black-owned businesses. We can keep the money in the community. Black-owned businesses also provide jobs, and of course, can help reduce unemployment and increase wealth. The second way, obviously, is create community investment funds. Actually, let me just pause right here real quick. I'm just gonna go over just the general stuff, and then at the end, because so many of them actually kind of intertwine, that I didn't want to kind of leave the presentation and try to come back or lose steps. So I'm just gonna briefly go over some of these things. I know many of you are already aware of this, but just want to give a general idea where I'm coming from. Um, Create community investment funds. Um, and their example of Ujima in action. These funds allow community members to pool their money and invest in businesses and projects within the community. This creates a source of capital for Black entrepreneurs and helps promote economic development within the community. One of which actually is something that really stood out to me and inspired me is the affirmation tower, and I'll kind of go into that a little bit later. Um, Next option is a fostering financial literacy. I literally started from here in this position or at this point. I wanted to make certain that I was educating myself and trying to find the information necessary to be constructive. And also in the practice of providing that information to my peers and friends and people in my community and investing on financial management, investing in credit, um, and so that we can make better financial decisions so that we can build wealth over time. Because I feel like a lot of times, especially, we are more focused on trying to get rich now or trying to stack our bread or get our money right now and be rich right away. And it's not always the case. It's probably, my personal opinion, not necessarily the best course of action because easy come, easy go. So the fourth method or fourth option is promote cooperative ownership. Cooperative ownership is a model in which businesses are owned and operated by their employees or members. This model allows for a more democratic approach to business ownership and can help ensure that the benefits of the economy are benefits of economic activity are shared among all members of the community. I don't know if you guys ever shop at Winco, but that's actually an entity that has something very similar to that. But I'm gonna touch on a Black-owned entity that that actually practices this in just a moment. Um, then lastly, it's advocating for policy change. Obviously, in the NAACP, that's something that we've done since day one. And in addition to grassroots efforts, policy change is needed to address systemic barriers that have historically limited Black economic opportunities. Includes policies that address discriminatory lending practices, promote access to capital for Black entrepreneurs, and support affordable housing and living wage jobs. So Is that the right one? Let's see. Okay, yes. So so with respect to the Black-owned businesses, one of these sources that I have tried to not only promote and encourage is the Black-owned business pages from the West Side Story newspaper here in San Bernardino. I actually used to work there, and I always was proud to be able to know that there was at least something out there that was out here promoting and educating and encouraging the support for Black businesses. And as you can see, each of these options are not only businesses, but in going to and going into the options, you can actually add a business or promote a business and encourage support for other businesses that may operate within these fields or in this particular industry. The let's see how I can do this now. Another source that I've actually utilized myself in terms of trying to support Black one. Let me be first and let me step back because I forgot to mention this. This is critical. You got to be deliberate. It is so easy to go over to Walmart and just say, you know what, I'm gonna buy my hair pick, my brush, my comb, my I use twist lock. I use wax for twisting my locks, and a lot of times it is quicker and easier. But I try to be intentional about finding local entities, local businesses that actually do provide services and resources. And a great source is actually on Facebook. There's several groups. This is just two of the main ones that I utilize here in the Inland Empire. Southern California Black business owners. And I've used them for all sorts of things. Like just last year, we had an event here. I'm actually in the NAACP office at the moment because this is the best signal for me to get. But we needed a jumper. We found a Black business for that. We needed someone to do face painting. We found a Black artist for that. We needed someone to provide food and vending. So we tried to make certain that we were deliberate and intentional about finding Black businesses first, so that we could support our own. And it's imperative that we try to be deliberate. Another one is Riverside County. This is Riverside County specifically, excuse me. But I think you get the point of where I'm going, that Facebook has several groups and opportunities for us to the next portion in the community investment funds is the Black cooperative investment funds. This is literally, that's entirely what they're driven around in terms of trying to provide funding for local businesses and allowing it for us to collectively provide support. This one is actually here in Southern California. There's another one in San Diego that I also found, but I didn't want to drag this out too long. I just wanted to lightly touch on some of the things that I addressed. But I have my own business in social media management as well as other forms of media, and I applied for a microloan for $5,000 to not only start my business but to get equipment to be able to do graphic design and such, and also take classes. So being aware of these opportunities and promoting these opportunities and sharing it, and if you don't need it, being able to provide support to those opportunities are very valuable. Literally the backbone of everything, though, or at least where it started me from. If you're not familiar with Earn Your Leisure, EYL stands for Earn Your Leisure University, but it's two brothers that podcast and just started sharing it.
Chache,
can you hear me?
Let me make a recommendation. Why don't you stop your video so that we don't have
that shouldn't have stopped up.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and close that one. But
no, just close your video. Your
yeah, I forgot that one.
with you on the camera, so that we can still see the screen. But if you take your camera off, then that should improve the signal.
Ah, I see what you're saying. There we go. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I just closed the window because I didn't want the video to slow things up. But On Your Leisure is literally a one-stop shop. They have everything for about investing, everything that most of us need in terms of just starting a foundation, whether it be investing in stocks, cryptocurrency, um, real estate, uh, 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 hedge funds. I mean, you name it, they are. I mean, everything from as big as trying to, get into I forgot what it's called, when you try to buy out entities, but anything from a larger scale to a small scale, just as simple as start a vending business. They have courses and instruction on how to get started. Their courses are like $1,000 a year, but I mean, if that's too steep for you, I'm gonna start paying for the classes personally. But I started my foundation just by following them on Facebook. YouTube, and they have what's called Market Mondays, and every Monday they have someone new that is, promoting or encouraging something different in terms of uh, what options are available. Uh, and then, as you see in here, there are other podcasts that actually talk about the same thing, the purpose of money and money talks with Tiff, the investing flavor. Buy the Hood was one of my favorites because it literally started to give me perspective about uh, trying to get more into real estate and trying to figure out how I can comfortably do so without, thinking that I got to come up with $1 billion. And I'm actually at the ground zero point of trying to buy a multi-dwelling unit instead of trying to buy a home. And the reason being is that it is not just a property that I can actually acquire and live in, but also a property that once I move out or move on, I can still maintain this property and it'll be a revenue generating entity for myself. Um, and another good one that I also like is Rich and Regular. It's definitely speaking from just every day, we're just trying to figure out how to keep things stable and not lose our minds and not try to keep up with the Joneses. And it's really about financial discipline. Um, this next one, though, actually is I want to share. It's going to be a short video. It's about 30 seconds. Um, it's the Affirmation Tower. I don't know if anyone or if you guys are familiar or heard of that. Anybody heard of the Affirmation Tower?
No, is that in New York? Yeah, in Manhattan it says. Is that replacing the towers?
So let me just see if I can pull it up here. I'm trying to pull it. I had the video just as the advisement of last week to try to download the video instead of trying to play it off of the website. But it is. Here we go. Video. Come on. It is actually a new tower. It's technically going to try to replace um, the Twin Towers. It's projected to be the tallest building in. Can everyone see this video?
Yeah, I can see the city skyline.
Yes. So it's going to be in Manhattan. It's projected to be the tallest building, and it was uh, co-opted by Don Peebles and the architect's name I just missed it just now. But they'll have two hotels, a theater, observation deck, offices, skating ring, um, and it'll be right in the heart of Manhattan. And what's so special about this is that this was a project that was pushed together under the opportunity of cooperative ownership, where some of the tenants in the building will have opportunity to have ownership in the building. The two hotels will be black owned, um, and They are also trying to, actually, no, they actually confirmed that once the tower is finished, it will have the Manhattan NAACP branch will be operating out of there. Um, and then lastly, I just wanted to touch on the advocacy for policy change. Policy change. Nope, that's not it. There we go. So obviously, in order to make certain that we're getting our equitable share of the opportunities for these grants or RFPs and different government afforded opportunities, or just different legal opportunities in terms, or just being able to implement that, legal practices aren't necessarily being followed when it comes to people of color. We definitely have to be present in these meetings and at these talks. And this is actually our old page on the San Bernardino NAACP, but I'm in the process of updating it, and I have it in a Google Doc where pretty much well, not every, but majority of the city councils and school district meetings, so that we're teaching our children, or giving our children the proper education information, and tapping into making certain that they're doing right by our children. I have all of this information available for anybody who wants it. And it basically breaks out the meeting times. The dates still are late, but the range in the days, or the time frames in which they meet, is still the same, like the second and fourth Tuesday for the city of Grand Terrace, and second and fourth Tuesday for the city of Highland, wherever you live. Definitely want to be at those meetings, because that's how we implement the change. I know some of y'all like, I know all of this already. You probably was hoping that I was going to drop some crazy gems on how to get rich, but one of the things that I recognize in my is that no path is the same for everyone. And I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to give it back to you, Brother Suji,
Okay.
the hosting.
All right. Is that your full presentation there, brother?
That is, I would like to open the floor to for questions or comments, or additional information. I also wanted to give an opportunity for people to throw in the chat any other resources that they're aware of with respect to supporting Black businesses, co-ops, the financial literacy education aspect of it, or just even suggestions about getting started and making investments, whether that be crypto or stocks or real estate.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do all of that, but first we gotta take the opportunity to give you a round of applause for taking the time to put that information together for us and to share it with us. So thank you so much, brother, for taking the initiative to do that. And I'm glad that you got over your initial concern about it, because you're among family here, and it's not like somebody's gonna grade you on the info you share. We just trying to get the knowledge where we can. And to lead into the discussion, question, answers, however we're gonna do it. First of all, let me say that I would like for you to, I got your the info that you sent me previously, but you added a couple of things. And I would like to have those additional references that you mentioned in a document, so that we can make a PDF to go along with this presentation, and we'll attach it to the archive so that people can get that reference list along, with taking a look at the video. So please send that to me at your first opportunity. We want to update the website as early as tomorrow, so if you can get it to us by tomorrow, that would be great. I want to say this though, I couldn't help but reflect on how the spirit of your presentation, the way you frame things, I was able to see a direct connection with my working definition of Blackness, which is culture, consciousness, and committed practice. As you were talking about the need for us to work together on this, I just saw that in there, and that in order to do this, we need to be working with people who share values with us. Of course, that is essential. Anytime you get into any type of a business or money relationship with anybody, if you don't have the same values with them, run. Get as far away from them as you possibly can, because any type of business relationship is like a marriage, and you're going to be deeply connected, and money is the leading cause for divorces, right? We know that. So if we don't if we don't align ourselves with people who have the same values with us, then none of this can happen. None of it can happen. And that caused me to reflect on a couple things. And when you talked about the thing that triggered that thought was when you talked about how we must be intentional or how we must be deliberate, and how the effort that it takes to do that. And certainly if you're trying to expand beyond your own personal thing, man, you need people who are just as deliberate as you are, and you can trade off on some of the responsibilities. So that was what triggered the thought. And it made me reflect on a couple things. I mean, everything that you said is on point, but what I find to be a barrier to our doing the things that you talked about begins with the fact that people simply do not understand the money system. They have absolutely no clue about how the money system in this society works. They just want to get rich. And it seems to me that if you don't understand how the system works, you have severely handicapped yourself and limited yourself in terms of the options that you'll be able to exercise in order to generate wealth. So I'm an advocate for people getting a firm understanding of how the money system works, because just getting an understanding of how the money system works in this society blows away a whole lot of the illusions about this society, so it would benefit us in terms of our efforts to generate resources, but also it would help us across the board, um, and let me see, understanding the money system. And then, oh man, we need to encourage more and more of our people to, dig deep into, the studies and become financial professionals. We need as many principled financial professionals as we can get. We need people who can understand the money system, who can understand the financial system, and can conceive of alternatives to it, and I'm an advocate for working within the system, in order to change the system. You have to engage it. There's no other way to do that. If you stand on the outside and just throw rocks at it, well, you're not gonna be able to do much. You're not gonna be able to have much impact. So we got to be in the system, and we need principled people in the text, the sacred text that I quote from Hosea, Moral Idea from Dr. Karenga. He talks about a systemic person, person who is not just knowledgeable, but also balanced, intellectually, spiritually, all of those types of things. And we most certainly need that around questions of finance, because it gets real sticky real quick, when we have behaviors that lend themselves to that, or messing around with people's money. And then finally, on your point about community investment clubs and everything, and I'll make this be the first question for you. You can respond to it how you will. Are you familiar with SUSU? Because SUSU is a community investment effort, and some of them are long-standing, some of them are scams. Their structure, in a sense, is somewhat of a pyramid structure, but it's supposed to be grounded in integrity, right? And the way it works is the people who are involved, they make a certain agreed upon contribution. It's quite often every month. And the way it works, everybody who's in the SUSU, they make their contribution, and then the entire pot goes to one person. And then that cycles, up until the point where everybody who is participating gets to be the recipient of the entire pot. I don't know much about them. I don't participate in the SUSU myself. To be perfectly honest, I've been a bit reluctant to step in. I'm cautious about all things money related, so unless I have a deep connection with the people who are involved and know they're people of integrity over the long haul, I'm going to be, skeptical about getting into that. But I do know people who I love and trust who have participated and report of good results. So are you familiar with SUSU? You have any experience with that?
So I don't personally have any experience in SUSU. However, my lady, she is actually East African, and the first time I had become aware of it, I brought it up to her, and explained to her, or the general principle, exactly the way that you did. And she says, "Yeah, that's what we do all the time." She said, but the way that they're explaining it, at least the one that I advised to her, She said that's not essentially how it works. And she also, she also emphasized that that's not just. It's funny because it's a foundational approach that people exercise all over the world. They just don't call it that specifically. But many cultures and many other ethnicities, for example, we'll say the Asian community, they'll have someone have the collectively all stay in the same home, and they'll all contribute into the pot so that one person can start their business. They use that collective money to start that one person's business and continue the cycle until they all each have their own businesses and their own homes. And um, like you, Brother Suja, unfortunately, I haven't seen one that I felt enough confidence and trust in to be able to move in that endeavor. But I did think it was an excellent idea or an excellent practice. Um, and the greatest issue that I had with it was just simply that the math wasn't adding up in terms of how little you had to contribute in order to be able to get so much out in the time frame that they were offering. That math ain't mathing for me. I don't know.
Hey, if the numbers don't add up, the numbers don't add up and we can't play. I'm sorry.
But at its core, it is an excellent principle, and then as you said, in finding someone or being attached to people or a collective that foundationally have the best interests of the collective at heart, and not in a selfish way or singular focus, like, well, I got to be the one first, I got to come up first, that seems to be the issue that I often run into when I've encountered Susus, at least here in the Western civilization, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I wanted to put that in there when talking about the co-ops, and I forgot to bring up one. But I have actually, Brother Johnson actually asked me to put that. Nope, it's not in the presentation, but I'll send it to you in the PDF document. There are several. There's actually one in South Texas that they literally operate like a Susu, where it's investment in the land. So they have cattle, and then they have like over 600 acres of land, and then they have part of the land is in Texas, and that land is utilized for cattle, and then part of the land is in Louisiana, and that land is utilized for like timber, like wood to utilize and chop up and whatnot. And they are expanding all throughout the South. They're very successful in what they're doing. And when I saw it, I was like, this is a Susu. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta put that in there. And my buddy was like, you gonna try to get everything in there, and you're not gonna get everything. So just try to get something clean, and just be as best you can. So
yeah,
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and
this
is a continuing conversation. We wasn't trying to cover everything tonight. We don't have that. We don't have the time or opportunity to do all of that. But you set us off nicely with a opening discussion about it. I got other questions, but I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Anybody else got any other comments or questions?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I like that you brought up the conversation about Susus, because I've also been invited to some scammy ones where the math, like you said, does not add up at all, not even a little bit.
Math wasn't mathing, brother.
And in the process of trying to explain that to people, to say, hey, save yourself some money and some heartbreak, people don't want to listen. But I said, we can break it down. But anyways, I want to say that recently there's a trend on TikTok, I think about a month ago, where someone posted, they said, if 5,000 people send me $1, I can buy a new car so I can drive to work. And it became extremely successful, in which people were sending not just $1, because they only asked for a small donation, but instead of $1, they're sending 5, 10, 50. And it became a trend so quickly that within 3 days, that took over TikTok. People said, well, if I get, this woman had a goal for 50,000. She said, I can spend a year at home with my newborn baby. And people threw money at that. There's one dude who said he needed a vehicle to get back and forth from school. And after a while, it got oversaturated to the point people said, I'm not sending you guys $1, but that's a very small amount to miss out on versus paying, $200 into a Susu where you don't get any money back. So I think that there's something that can be done with that, where if it's a good enough idea, we can propose to Black people with a small amount, like a small pay-in amount, and then just show I guess, proof of the product. And I think that could be very successful. Instead of asking a large amount, just ask for something small and see where that goes.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
to that point, honestly, brother, that we can also kind of uplift churches in a sense of susus. At least the church home that I have, I mean, in the very building that I'm sitting in, it was a collective effort to be able to acquire this building so that so that it would be able to provide resources and opportunities for nonprofits in the community. I got a scholarship from my church. They have helped me many a season during Christmas to help out my families, and it all comes from the collective contribution of the members of the church to be able to help out others. But we don't necessarily frame it that way. We just mostly look at it in terms of, well, we just giving money to God. And I think to your point about bringing small amounts together to make large amounts, it's imperative for us to recognize that we can do that in a constructive way that helps a lot of people and ourselves in a very productive way. I, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop because I could go. Oh no, I want to just come right back real quick. The financial literacy and taking care of personal finances. The small amounts actually brought me up to the something else that I got from a brother of mine. Love him dearly. He is the king of like I'm gonna do all the small hustles to get. So he's got a vending machine business. He uh he just bought a property. In that property, he bought two machines or three washing machines for his tenants on the property so that they could wash their clothes. I said why. I asked him why he was doing all that, and he said because every dollar counts. I don't have to have a big lump sum of money to be able to get to the money. As long as I get the pennies and the cents, they'll add up to the dollars, and I can use those dollars to make larger investments. So I kind of follow his lead as well, in terms of just looking at it, not looking at it like that's not enough money. If it's money that I can generate and then I can utilize it in a constructive way, and it ain't gonna set me back in terms of effort or time, I'm on that.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to that. I got a company here. I have a job, but I also have a consultancy. And, I do 3D printing out in my garage. I got a little factory. I got 3D printers out there. I got a milling machine. I got a lathe. So I make stuff out of metal and plastic and wood and all of that. And I did an item for my daughter for business day, fourth grade business day, and I should have it, but I don't have it here within sight. I did a lithophane for her, just a little novelty item, holiday with the school logo and all of that stuff. And one of my partners, one of my oldest friends, in fact, saw my post about that, and he's the pastor of a nice sized church in the Detroit area, and he's like, "Man, I want some of those for the church." I was like, "Well, how many do you want? I could make you hundreds." He said, "Well, I just want 20." And I was like, "Well, that's a couple $100. And here's my daughter coming in. Look at that, creeping in from the side." So this is the lithophane. And let me see if I had the I'm gonna have to use my phone so that I can flash the light on it so that you all can see the effect. But the point I'm making is that my thought was towards, let me see, that might be too much light. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it through the camera. But what I will do, matter of fact, what I can do, I can actually share my screen and just show y'all a photo. So I'm gonna talk while I get to the photo. But the point I'm making here is that an order of 20 is not a big order, right? But the way I do my manufacturing, it ain't nothing to sneeze at, and the small profit that I generate from it will go towards something else. So I gladly snatched up that 20 part order, so that I could get it into his hands, ship it out this weekend so I can collect those ends, and be ready to go with it. The only other thing I wanted to say in response to what you just shared is that crowdfunding is indeed a thing, right? For matters personal and for matters collective, and if we're clever about it, as Akir just alluded to, if you're clever about it, you can put a personal appeal out there and get it financed. And most certainly, if you have a clever business idea that has some obvious earning potential, well, you could get you could get all of the resources that you need for that crowdfunding. That is an absolute thing today, and is worth developing as part of anybody's plan, to come up with a crowdfunding initiative, because that's people are looking for things, as Akir mentioned. So thanks for bringing that up, bro. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions?
See, Sister Sarah Baker has her hands up.
Yeah, I was gonna well, one, I was gonna mention what Suja did about our daughter having a fourth grade business day. And I really love that idea of teaching the kids financial literacy young that way. And I was wondering if you had any particular experience or ideas to that effect. So I feel like if you start the kids young, just a part of their life after that.
So actually, I have one that we have utilized and we have not followed it aggressively, which was it's like a Monopoly game from Warren Buffett, but it actually starts out with you starting, young people starting their own business. My middle son, not necessarily the entrepreneurial spirit just yet. My youngest son, though, he's on it. And so he's, kind of in the way that Akir spoke last week about child prodigies, trying to feed his energy and his drive for that. So he will literally every time there is our neighborhood, we have a block party, or if it's someone's birthday party, usually most of the neighborhood comes together. And we all just kind of are out in front of our houses. This boy will have a lemonade stand every time. And the game actually teaches you about how to structure how to structure your business finances in terms of how much you're supposed to keep for the business, how much you're supposed to utilize for savings, and how much you're supposed to keep for personal or leisure activity that's actual profit. And he, as a 4 and actually now 5, he doesn't have a whole lot of things to spend his money on other than the ice cream truck, so he just been stacking. But it did set a good foundation for us. There's another one though. I swear to God, once I remember it, because I was like, oh yeah, he's on that one too. That I just came across that actually is Black owned, and it does teach. It does have I think a more. Am I breaking up?
No, that was Sarah.
Okay.
No. Oh, I have to share my video. I was asking if are those apps or actual games?
They were board games.
Like a
Well,
board.
it was board games, and in the game they actually used fake money, but I just took that principle and just applied it in real life, since it was trying to give them the theoretical or idea of how it goes, but I just wanted to give him the actual practice of it, since he was definitely like, no, I need he counts and everything, like his math is on point. Nah, your change is 250, sir.
Let me show you this. Oh, hold on. Oh, am I the host?
Yes, it does set you as the host right now.
Okay, well, I tried to share my screen and it says host disabled, participant screen sharing. So make me the host again, bro.
All right, that's interesting. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. That's oh, because you're recording. My fault. I'm sorry. Here you go.
Okay. All right, so let me get to this Facebook. This is the post. Can you all see that?
Yes, now I see it. Oh, that is nice. That is lovely.
So this is a post that I did about it, and that was her little display. And this was the second business day for the year. They dedicate 2 periods, like one class session throughout the year, for the 4th grade students to set up a display and to be able to sell a pre-approved item to other 4th grade students and teachers and the faculty, right? So my son did this last year. And it wasn't until I got involved this year that I truly came to appreciate how much of a freaking rock star my son was last year, and how he did his. So we did the same thing last year for my son. I made lithofangs, and you can see him here, how the light shining through it kind of makes it look like a black and white photo. And photographs come out excellent in this, you know. But this was something that my daughter designed the logo, you know, for the Happy Valentine's Day. And, you know, I made it. And we had, for the one in October, we did a Halloween type of, you know, thing. So we didn't sell out. We went off the numbers that my son sold last year. My son sold about 100 of them last year. So we recreated that same number. And my daughter got through about half of them. So she had some left over. So when it came up to the next business day, last week or the week before, we decided that we needed to get rid of them Halloween lithofangs as well. So we did a buy one, get one free. You buy a Valentine's Day one and you got the Halloween one for free. And my daughter, she turned it up out there, you know, and ended up selling out. It was a whole thing, you know, had a whole thing. But I just wanted to show, you know, this as an example of what I make in the house. And my partner, I made one for him that's similar, but it has his church logo on there, you know, and we agreed to a very fair price for that. I'm gonna set my machines up tonight to actually run those. And by the end of the day tomorrow, I'll have them ready and be ready to ship them out to them. So I just wanted to share that.
Can I share something else?
Sure.
I recently, or a few months ago, actually, I did a website for a client so they can sell their personal products. And he wanted to set up the website for his wife so she could sell products out the house. And I saw for the first couple of months that they weren't getting maybe one sale a month if they're lucky. But his wife stayed really consistent with it. They hired a graphic designer and they kept like doing reiterations to make their design look better. And then eventually they found someone on Fiverr so that their product looks great. And then they just got the labels made and they kept selling it that way. And the reason I'm saying this is because I saw them organically grow their customer base using social media, which is very interesting because Chache talked about that earlier, being a social media, social media, can't say the exact word.
No, good.
Social media management, he said.
Social media management, there you go. And that's really important because this past week, his wife posted a video, just a regular video on Facebook like she always does. And this video blew up. It got 900,000 views when she's used to getting maybe 20 or 30. And after that, immediately, across orders coming in all across the country.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that really helped them too was that when that one video blew up, she had a bunch of other videos there as well. So after people watch one video, they see the next one, and the fan base is actually there. So I just wanted to say, I think that's something that's interesting. And I've gone viral a couple times on the internet as well. So one thing I'll say is that there's no issue in riding waves. Of course, you shouldn't, risk your integrity. But when stuff is like going on and it's active, it's a good idea to get on it because as long as you have the right look, if your label looks the right way, if you have the right aesthetic on your page, people will buy it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It takes a team to pull that off, and you know, you just stated that in so many different ways as you were talking about that. With a team, it ain't nothing that can't be the right team. You know, ain't nothing can't be accomplished, but it absolutely does take a team. Dr. J, you got a comment?
Just bouncing off of everyone and Akir, the social media for some of us, that's something that we just don't like. But I heard Akir when he talked about how it's important to have social media. So then it's also important to understand, like Facebook is basically a certain demographic and age. And I thought TikTok was like, I don't want to do, that's dumb, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I had somebody doing my social media and she had me do some dumb, like, this is dumb. I don't want to be on TikTok. But my daughter, I'm a clinical herbalist in private practice and a doula. My daughter said, Mom, you have to get on the Black Girl Train. And I said, what's that? She said, go to TikTok, post, you know, get in that little boat. And I only had 7 followers for the last 6 months. I'm at 1,700. That happened like within 4 days. And so taking that social media and putting that on my website, you know, when I have people say, well, I ask them, how did you find out about me? If it's not a word of mouth referral, which is the majority of what I get, one told me today, I saw you on TikTok. Oh, I went on your Instagram, and then I went on your TikTok, and then she said, I saw the connections. And so we may not understand how that works, but things have changed. And I thought TikTok was just people doing dumb little dances and stuff, but there's some good information. There's a Black girl business TikTok. You got Black man TikTok, Black king TikTok, or whatever the trend is. Get on it, get your followers, because then you can go live. And I don't know what happens at 5,000 followers. And I'm really not a big social media person. The only reason why I even really deal with it is because I have a business. But if you're waiting organically, yes, you want local business. But we're so spread out here. People don't know I'm here. Unless somebody tells you, they don't know. And so people that walk into my office is because another client told them. But when you have clients come to you from out of state, well, how'd you find out about me? I saw your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So it really is a thing. And the only way we as a people are going to progress and building business, we're going to have to reach out the long way, because, we've been spread out. We're going to have to. And we're not going to make it if we don't patronize each other. And that's just the bottom line.
Let me say this real quick. 2 things. One, we need to mention the comment that Quaylee and Kathy put in the chat about Shades of Africa and Corona being a Black-owned company that sells hair care products, art, clothing, books, etc. And Vonia Quarles, who runs that shop, is a community servant. And I mean, outstanding person. So look up Shades of Africa and Corona for all of your related needs. They'll take good care of you down there. And what was the second thing that I was going to mention?
She's an attorney also.
Yeah, that's
a good criminal attorney.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention is that it's 6:52 and we got 8 minutes. So I just want to jump in at time step in.
Sitting back listening. First of all, Chache, I appreciate the presentation. That was good information that you shared, and I wanted to speak to the question that you asked at the beginning, where you asked about Ujamaa strategies, and Ujamaa strategies refers to community economics, collective economics. And most of the time when people are talking about economics and business, they're talking about it at a personal level. My business, I'm trying to make my money to pay my bills, to send my kids to college, but not in a collective community context. And that is a very important focus that has to be addressed, the community context of cooperative economics. And with that, it brings up some of the non-financial aspects of economics that might be related to some social psychology. So Suja speaks to why it is that Black folks sometimes have a problem getting along and supporting ourselves. And there's some very interesting psychology involved in that question that has to be dealt with and address if we are going to build Ujamaa strategies that's going to benefit us collectively. One of those that is very popular these days is community gardens. And where community gardens work, they work fantastically. And Suja knows that probably one of the best models for community gardens is in his hometown of Detroit. But there's some interesting psychology that that must be addressed around that, and so I'm just throwing that out as an issue that has to be dealt with as we move forward with the effort to make Kwanzaa a practice.
Make the Nguzo Saba a daily practice. That's what we're doing. Appreciating that, good brother. Let's see. We are now at 6:56. We winding down. What else was I gonna add? It seems like I had something else on my list here that I wanted to. Oh, I wanted to ask a question. You mentioned you shared a reference to the Black-owned business list from West Side Story. I wanted to know, do you know if that is a continuation of the Black Business Directory that Amina and Ratibu published?
It absolutely is.
Okay.
It absolutely is. In fact, I literally just saw someone share with me a clip from Ratibu having an interview where he referenced and he discussed that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Wallace Allen. He is the co-founder or the founder of the West Side Story newspaper.
Yeah.
He and
Ratibu. That's why I asked, because I know Wallace and I know that he's affiliated. He had been affiliated with them and everything, and I thought it was a good chance that was exactly what happened. So I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, they both were great mentors in my life. When he did the newspaper, he said he got the foundation from him, and then they just kind of carried it on. And they transitioned from newsprint. Well, they still have newsprint, but they try to transition a little bit to online, given the extensive reach that the internet has. But I'm uplifting it now because I don't think it has the traction that it deserves, especially in the Inland Empire, as well as it's a perpetuation of legacy that was led by Ratibu Bill Jaycock. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and that's what we are here. We are continuing their work in the area of the Inland Area Kwanzaa Group. They started that too, so it's good to see. What else was I gonna say here to get ready to close this out? It seems like I had a brilliant thought that ran out of my mind. You know how brilliant thoughts just run out of your head? Ain't that something? But I mean, I've enjoyed the discussion here tonight. And I guess I recall I was going to say that we envisioned this effort to be one that would lend itself towards the type of collective economics that we're talking about. That's why we're recording every week and building an archive on our website. We have plans to introduce some of our book projects through this effort and everything, and we would most certainly like the opportunity to participate or support either of our members in anything that we want to do. I mean, if we're going to be a living example of the Nguzo Saba applied, then at some point we got to do something about cooperative economics, right? We got to do something about that. So we are looking to build and position ourselves to be able to contribute to that effort in a meaningful way and to be like a hub or a resource. I haven't seen that type of a central location for anything related to Kwanzaa, or the Nguzo Saba, and there certainly is a need for that. There's a whole lot of disconnected units, out there doing things related to Kwanzaa and Nguzo Saba and everything, but we need a hub for all of that to come together. And with that, we're at the close of our open session. We got another 30 minutes to talk about upcoming work. And I'm just going to say once again, Chache, thanks for putting that information together. Thanks for your very capable presentation of it. And thanks to everybody else for your comments and participation. So we're officially closing out this session, and we look forward to the next one. I should mention that I'm presenting next week on technology, and I'm going to use my 3D printing operation as a foundation for that, but I'm coming to talk about Black people and technology on a broad scale. I'm gonna focus on the 3D printing. I'm not gonna go too far or wide, bring it all together. So I'm looking forward to you all participating and joining me for that next week. So thanks again for your participation here tonight, and I'm going to end our recording and close out this portion of our meeting.